Namaste and Jai Hind again. And this is a conversation that is often not conducted, you know. Infrastructure. I can go and fight only if I can get there. Sir, in 2012, I will start with a personal experience, General Srinivasan. I've had the fortune to go up to Bumla in Arunachal. But the roads were horrid. And when we get there, and it was all cobalt, nice, cobbled roads, fantastic roads on the other side, Chinese bunker in occupied territory, all of that. And when I asked the Fauji there, the colonel there who was there, and the senior person, so why are our roads like this? So the philosophy is that यहाँ सड़कें खराब होंगी तो दुश्मन को आने में तकलीफ होगी. So has that philosophy changed now? Let me start from there. Has that thought process changed?
So the interesting and humorous aside, definitely. I mean, I would say that in the last 10 years, we have looked upon the borders as strategic sovereignty. You need to get there, you need to populate that area, that place should be economically viable, and your flag should fly over there. To do that, you need the road. And like you're saying, we have reached every part of the border, and we've done this in the last 10 years. And the surge is tremendous. The point is that many times I am asked that you compare yourself to China, our northern adversary, and look at what you are doing over here. But I would like to say, taking off from where your question led, that if you begin a little late, you're playing a little catch-up. And when you play catch-up, you need to accelerate, you need to surge if you want to get there. And I think all the ingredients of surge are very much there. There is government policy, there is the industry support, there is the technological support, there is the services, that is both the Army and the Air Force, which essentially look upon these areas. They are looking upon these much more differently. And lastly, the states, which are the border states, are contributing immensely. They see this as a huge opportunity. We were talking about migration. I mean, there was a time, at least even in important states like Uttarakhand. I'm sure you've all gone to Joshimath, and ahead of Joshimath, there's this village called Mana, and you go up ahead. Mana, Harsil, Joshimath, everything over there. Traditionally, everyone used to come down in winter, and traditionally everyone sought employment in Dehradun. On the other hand, you see something in the Spiti Valley. Most of you might have traveled in the Rohtang tunnel. What used to happen was that everyone, once the winters would set in, and this we are talking about 6 months in the year, they would come back to the hinterland, and then they would go back, and whatever was across the pass was essentially in nomadic terms. Now they're developing infrastructure, we're having homestays, we're having hospitals, we're having schools, all the ingredients, all the social matrices and the indices. So as far as we are concerned, that is the border roads, we are not a gun versus butter debate. We are both guns and butter.
Both guns and the butter. Arunachal, can we address that? Because there are villages right at the corner, right at the border, where there are reports that the Chinese have infrastructure and they are occupying, and they're, there's salami slicing, and the locals are saying there's no connectivity. We can't live there because the roads are not built. So compared to 2014 and now 2025, how much of ground have we covered, and how far are we from achieving perhaps what is the actual goal, where every single village, the first village to the last village, Kibitu to Kutch, we have connectivity?
Yes, I think you covered it very well. I said that when we had a surge, and if we take the baseline as 10, 12 years ago, we take that baseline, from there we've gone much further. And the government has taken out the orders for the Arunachal Frontier Highway, which is approximately 1,300 kilometers long, of which the border roads is doing about 550 kilometers in the central section. And this starts from the west, that is the general area of Tawang, and goes all the way to the east in the general area of Vijayanagar. And if you look at the concept, or if you have the border to the north, and you have what is your lateral, remember that all axials leading to the border must flow from a lateral. So what is your lateral? Your lateral presently was about 150 kilometers behind. And that was a robust lateral which would go on the places that you're talking about, Kibitu, and then it would come over here. So you could say the areas of north of the Brahmaputra, the lateral would be going across. Now your lateral is going to be about 40 kilometers from the LAC. And that would be enough for us, switching that they are able to do. And we have these laterals, and this is the thought process everywhere along the border, that you have a robust, strong, all-weather lateral which you have, from which you can move axials going out towards the border.
When we have something like Galwan and LAC, the forge is moving into places which have never been occupied before, and also reaching up to heights. And this is moving heavy equipment, and it's huge tonnage and also numbers. How much time do you have? How much time does the BRO have? What are your turnaround times? And if you can share with us, even with Operation Sindoor, I'm sure.
So I think there we are, I don't think we come in as an immediate response. I mean, if you're expecting roads to be constructed to areas where you need to go in the timelines which, let's say, the 88 hours that we had in Sindoor, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen anywhere in the world. But what will happen is that any bridge which gets taken out, any connectivity which gets blocked, any tunnel which gets damaged, there we have the capability to respond, to see that the existing lines of communication we will maintain, and that's our job. And we have seamless plans with the army. We practice this. In a warlike situation, we come directly under command, and resources are pre-positioned, they're in place, they're able to take it on. Now, you very interestingly brought out Galwan. I think Galwan was an actual test bed case that our infrastructure, that is the road connectivity and what we had built over there through the army, was better than that was with it. Why do you think they went back? I mean, they foraged. I would imagine, I mean, I don't have the exact, they foraged to see what was happening. They tried to set us back. We gave them a tight slap, and they got back. And what has happened since? Has anything else happened over there? So I would imagine they are very worried that what was not happening, you're making signatures of border infrastructure at every point on the line of actual control. Whether you start from eastern Ladakh, whether you start from Daulat Beg Goldi in the north, and you go all along, whether it is Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, every part of the border, you are making signatures of strong infrastructure being developed over there. And I would imagine that would set off a little bit of alarm bells.
So when you have strong infrastructure, let's say you have roads, does that also mean, you talked about the butter part, how important is it that there is local population that stays there? There are people who don't migrate out of that area. Does that play a role in the Dushman not slicing off land, territory, making forays and forages, etc.?
See, that's the brilliance of Bharat. We don't need Potemkin villages. We don't need to pick up people from the hinterland and say that, okay, you populate our borders. Our people populate the borders immediately. By the time we build the road, there's a tea shop. By the time the next season you've come over there, the tea shop has become a cafe. We see homestays. And I have to give credit to our bikers. I think they're all, many of them must be here, who buy this Himalayan motorcycle. Yes, I see a hand over there. And who, these intrepid travelers are traveling all along our road. I get phone calls from the highest motorable pass in the world, Umlingla, 19,100 feet. I get a guy who phones and says, sir, I'm very happy to be here, see my photograph, and thanks for a great road which is over there. I want to tell him, buddy, I mean, you're in 19,100 feet, not so much action. So this is our, intrepid Indian entrepreneurship just needs the road. And afterwards, they take care of it. Everything happens. And I must say that the chief ministers and the state administration of all the border states, they are very well in sync. We had a meeting yesterday at the MORTH, where we were discussing the construction of a tunnel in Sikkim, and we had, I'm sorry, in Ladakh, and we had the Chief Secretary of Ladakh online. And he said, I am in sync with the Army's strategic requirement because we are going to use the same strategic requirement to get our tourists over there. And it means a lot to our economy. And for border states, once these roads come up, and it's already happening, I don't think we will see any tourism outside the country because we have such beautiful areas in our own country. It's all going to stay here.
General Sahab, we've got some pictures and I'd request you to talk us through it. Can we have about 5 or 6 pictures? Okay, this is the first one. This is the surf works on the Kaing Tato Road.
Yeah, this is in Arunachal Pradesh. It's a portion which used to be called rest of Arunachal Pradesh, but because it was so remote in the good old days.
So I just wanted to use these pictures as a reference and say, is working with the different line ministries and departments like this or like this currently?
No, I think...
and state governments like you're talking.
I think both slides say the same thing. Initially it's like this, and then it becomes like this.
Okay, let's look at the next picture. Let's look at the next picture. Okay, this is again the Nimu Padam Darcha Road.
Yeah.
So this is how it looked, and after the BRO's gotten involved, this is how it looked.
No, I think the BRO got involved both. Initially it looked like this. Yeah. So what you had was a mountain.
Okay.
And then you cut it. And of course we didn't allow anyone to get on this because then you would have someone like you saying, oh, look at that road, that's not so good. So, but that's how the road looks when it is immediately cut from the mountain. And then it takes one season to put the blacktop and then we get it all. We got to get the bride looking good, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
Sir, that Bumla story, I'll tell you, Niche cantonment, they used to say, khana lane ke liye pura din lagta hai. So that's what they used to say at that time. Now, I hope that's also changed now. This is the Arunachal Frontier Highway, NH913.
That's
You're
right.
talking about this.
Yes.
So this is also currently...
Yes, so essentially I need to say this, that in our borders, we are dealing with Himalayan geology, which is fragile. Secondly, we are dealing with a huge amount of moisture. That is, whether it is in rain or whether it is in snow. The third is we have a very small working season. That means whether it is the north because of the snow, we are not able to work from October to April. If it is the east because of the rain, we stop work around May, June, and then again we can get out only in October. So your working window at best is going to be about 8 months to about 6 months. So this means that, okay, how long does it take for a project? 4 years. But how much time did you actually get in the project? You actually got 2 years. And that time is, you got to pull back, you've got to protect, you again have to go back through long lines of communication, you've got to get there. And then the kind of fragile geology that we face in the Himalayas is again something which we need to deal with, but we're getting better.
This is a bridge at 14,900 feet.
Yes, this is on the Shyok River.
Brangsa Bridge.
Yes, this is on the Shyok River on eastern Ladakh. They've used micropiles to get into the ground because it's permafrost, and it's not easy to get our piers getting into the ground. It's a brilliant bridge, which is the piers have been made when we could, because you have a very small window before the ground becomes too hard for you to get inside, or it becomes waterlogged. So that bridge is across the Shyok River.
And it can carry the weight. Now, this is another one. This is the first blast that was initiated by the Prime Minister on 25th anniversary of Kargil Divas on 26 July 2024. Now, this line, this one, the Shinkunla Tunnel, this is also very critical.
So I'm trying to advertise Shinkunla because I see a lot of bikers over here. This is along the Zanskar River. This is one of the most beautiful places in the world. All you have to do is turn left from Manali, which is actually west. You go up from Jispa, cross over to Darcha, and then you cross over the Shinkunla Pass. This is brilliant, really, because getting into Leh always meant crossing 1 or 2 passes on the Himalayas. Now, we all know that getting to Leh from Srinagar meant you cross the Zojila Pass, where we are getting a tunnel. Getting to Leh from the Manali axis meant you cross 3 passes, Lachulungla, Barlachla, and Taglangla. Here you cross just 1 pass, which is the Shinkunla Pass, where we are going to have the tunnel. You enter the valley of Padam, and you enter the Zanskar, and then you drive along the Zanskar, which is actually the Nirak chilling areas where they have the Chadar Trek, where people walk across the ice and something over there.
Those on the other side of the LAC won't be very happy about this.
I don't think we asked them whether they are happy. We do what we need to do.
Yeah, but it's better. Along with the bikers, a lot more will move much faster in that region, and it is strategically very important. The last picture, sir, this is the other one, which is at about 13,900 feet, the alt tunnel. Can we have the last picture? Yeah, this is at the Mudnyoma airfield. Sorry, so this is at 13,700 feet. You want to talk us through this? Why so important?
I'm not going to say anything. There's an Air Force officer, very senior Air Force officer who was over here. What I would say is that you need to have strategic infrastructure, which we develop for all these services.
The timeline is October 2025.
That's right. That's right. We'll do. And I'm really very proud about this because we have got a lady officer over here, Colonel Poonam Doming, and another group of lady officers under her. They they winter throughout the year, making this in extremely difficult conditions. So we have absolutely super performance in executive assignments. We're not talking about administrative assignments. We're talking about executive assignments, actually doing the work on ground.
So is that psychological shift happened कि दुश्मन घुस जाएगा to telling the दुश्मन कि हम घुस जाएंगे?
I think it's there everywhere. I mean, look at your response in every crisis which has been developed. I mean, it's easy to say, but aggression needs to be inculcated. Your first response is to fly, to back off. To become aggressive, you have to decide that now and no more. This much, no more, no further. And you've got to decide that you're going to fight, and you're going to fight hard. I think this message has been sent time and time again. And the Border Roads is one organization where we are reflective of the government intent. If you have intention and you say that I'm going to reach the border and this is what I'm actually going to build there, and I'm going to protect it, and I'm going to use it, now what do? The card has been played and it's your turn, sir.
Thank you very much, Raghu Srinivasan. Thank you so much. Thank you.